kind of towards the beginning of the Nancy Guthrie investigation and things just got so crazy, I really wanted to check back in with you because I was curious what you think is happening behind the scenes now with the DNA. The latest I've heard is the sheriff said, that there was still stuff happening behind the scenes with the DNA. He hasn't given a lot of specifics. What do you think? What do you think is going on?
I think that companies or a company that was planning to release a new mixture deconvolution software package has probably rushed that. You know how companies, especially tech companies, have a plan for the next year or so. They say, oh, we're going to do that third quarter next year. I suspect that has been moved up to right now.
You think when someone disappears, it is because someone took them. But there is a more terrifying possibility they were not taken. They were lost because of the way we searched for them. And if that is true, then Nancy Guthrie did not just disappear in the night. She may have disappeared within the first 48 hours of the investigation. Not out in the desert, not in the dark, but inside the way the system responded. 48 hours, and a gap of 41 minutes. No footage, no explanation, no clean chain of data to piece the truth back together. If you miss the first 48 hours, you do not just lose the trail. You may lose the chance to ever know what really happened. Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old, lived in the Catalina foothills in Tucson, a place so quiet that people believe nothing bad could ever happen there. When she disappeared, the first reaction was very logical. An elderly person, maybe she got lost, maybe she had a health issue, maybe it was just an accident. A search and rescue case, not a crime scene. And that assumption may have shifted the entire direction of the investigation from the very first hours. In criminal investigations, the first 48 hours are not just a number, they are a one-time window. A period when the scene is still intact, the evidence is still clean, and nothing has been mixed yet. But if you enter that window with the wrong assumption, you will see everything the wrong way. And if you handle it the wrong way, you will destroy things that you can never get back later. An anonymous source from law enforcement said it clearly. The first 48 hours may have been compromised. That is a heavy statement. It does not just question the outcome, it questions the process itself. Imagine a scene that is not properly secured, people coming in and out without control, procedures not following homicide standards. What happens next? It is not that there is no evidence, it is that the evidence becomes contaminated, mixed, layered over by dozens of different interactions. A strand of hair no longer belongs to just one person. A touch no longer points in one clear direction. DNA, the thing that should have been the answer, becomes a noisy record. And once that happens, you cannot go back to the beginning and redo it. You can only try to read the truth through a distorted lens. Many people will say, just stay calm. But in an investigation, calm in the wrong way means slow, and slow means loss. Loss of traces, loss of direction, loss of opportunity, and in Nancy's case there are signs that everything may have started going that way. Then a detail appears. Not a story, not a guess, but data. A gap of exactly 41 minutes. According to the devices in the house, the system was offline for a specific period of time. At the same time, Nancy's pacemaker recorded its last sync from 1:47 inches the morning to 2:28 inches the morning. 41 minutes. Not long, but enough to change everything. Think carefully. What can 41 minutes do? Enough for someone to enter. Enough to control an elderly person. Enough to take them out of the house. Enough to remove the clearest traces. But also enough for a medical event to happen, a heartbeat going wrong, a device failing without anyone reacting in time. And between those two possibilities, there is not enough clear data to confirm which one is real. No cameras, no direct witnesses, no continuous timeline, only a gap. A gap that the more you try to fill it, the more new questions appear. In a case with missing information, every small detail becomes important. And there is one such detail. A man with a backpack was seen near the area. It sounds normal, but for behavioral analysts, nothing is normal when it appears at the right time. They do not just see a backpack, They see how it is carried, how the person moves, and they ask what is inside that backpack. Rope gloves, tape tools. A lost person does not prepare like that. An accidental passerby does not move with that level of intention, but someone with a purpose does. A prepared predator comes in, does what needs to be done, and leaves. Without leaving a clear story, only traces that are not enough to conclude, but enough to raise suspicion. Then the case moves into a more dangerous phase, the phase of uncertain information. Nancy's family begins receiving ransom messages asking for Bitcoin, not cash, not bank transfer, but a form of money that is hard to trace. That alone makes everything more complicated. But what sends chills down the spine is not the amount, it is the content of those messages. The sender knows details about the house, the layout, the arrangement, things that an outsider would not easily know unless they had been there or had watched very carefully. That opens a terrifying possibility. This person does not just know Nancy. They know her environment. They know how to move inside that space. But at the same time, another question appears. If they know that much, why expose themselves through messages? Is this a real kidnapper or someone taking advantage of the situation? Then another direction is mentioned. Nancy may have been taken to Mexico, a scenario that sounds reasonable in kidnapping cases. But when technical data is checked, everything becomes unclear again. Signals show signs of being redirected, routed through multiple points, like a way to hide the real origin, a layer of technical fog covering an already unclear story. And now, the most important question is no longer where Nancy is. It is who is controlling this story, a real kidnapper or a troll. If it is real, every minute matters. But if it is fake, then the entire system is being pulled into a game where time is wasted, resources are scattered, and the truth is buried deeper. Whoever it is, the impact is the same. A psychological war. The family is stretched between hope and despair. The police must separate real from fake in a sea of information. The community is shaken by rumors, and through all of this, time keeps moving. In that chaos, there is only one thing the system can hold on to: DNA. No emotion, no guess, just biological data. But the DNA in this case is no longer clean. It is mixed. Many traces layered together, many people moving through the scene, many interactions happening after Nancy disappeared. And if the scene was not protected from the beginning, then DNA is no longer a clear answer. It becomes a puzzle. That is why one technology is now being hoped for mixed DNA analysis software, a tool that can analyze and separate biological traces from each other, layer by layer, finding each individual profile. That is the hope, a chance to see through the noise, to find out who was really there. But here's the paradox. If the original data was already contaminated, then no matter how powerful the tool is, you are still working with an imperfect version of the truth. You may find a name, but the question is that name truly connected, or just part of the noise? And then among all the criminal theories, there is another possibility, less dramatic but more terrifying because it is so ordinary. Nancy, 84 years old, with a pacemaker. If during those 41 minutes a medical event happened, a cardiac arrest, a device failure, everything could end very quickly. No scream, no clear warning, just a moment when the body no longer works as it should. But what if someone discovered that and decided to do something else? What if an accident became an opportunity for another action? An action to hide, to take advantage, or to avoid responsibility? That is where the line between accident and crime becomes blurred. Whatever the truth is, one thing does not change: time does not stop. Every day that passes is another layer of information lost, another trace erased, another possibility closed. And when you look back, you start to realize that the problem is not just those 41 minutes. It is how the first 48 hours were handled, If the first 48 hours were misdirected, then everything after is no longer a perfect investigation. It becomes a race backward, a race against the early mistakes, against the noise, against time. And in a race like that, you do not just need to find the truth. You have to dig it out from a foundation that has already been broken. When DNA separation technology is applied, it may bring answers, a name, a direction, more clarity, but it may also reveal something no one wants to face. This case did not go cold on its own. It was made cold, from the very first decisions, from the early assumptions, from the way the system saw it from the beginning. Nancy Guthrie has still not been found, and the question now is no longer what happened to her, but what did we miss from the very start? Because sometimes the truth does not disappear. It is just buried under what we believed was right.